I didn't come over here for you. Hi. Okay, that's how we're doing this. Good morning. Today is April 2nd. I always check the date and forget because normally I don't know what day it is. But today is April 2nd. We are week 2 of the spring garden tour. So I wanted to show you what's going on every week through spring, summer, fall, maybe winter too. We'll see, because we do plan to have a winter garden, but normally things are just slower in the wintertime. I want to show you what's going on, exactly what's happening in the garden. I don't know if you can hear my neighbor's car behind me or in front of me, but anyway, I want to show you what's going on because we finally have a lot of projects that are going to get finished. There's going to be a lot of work going on here in the next couple weeks. It's super exciting. Our garden is finally going to be going in. Our 2023 garden is going to be planted in the next couple weeks. So I'm very excited about that. And so let me take you on a tour so that you can kind of see the before and after, because I think right now a lot is going to change between this tour and next weekend's tour. So let's get started. All right, first things first, the strawberry green stalk is doing really well. I'm super happy with this. The plants are just getting bigger and bigger, and we have a lot of flowers. So it's doing it's great. So yeah, the whole thing is filling out pretty nicely. Everything's getting new leaves on it. And so pretty soon here we'll have strawberries. And yeah, doing really well. All right, and then here is our second green stalk. So this one is full of leafy greens and just more of the cool weather stuff. I wanted to see if we can get more of it. So there's like cilantro here and purple bok choy, and there's like lettuces and spinaches and stuff like that in here. A lot of this stuff is leggy. I said in my last video, but a lot of it is leggy just because it sprouted when we had really bad rain. And I also had to kind of like shelter this against the house for multiple days, and that's when everything came up. So there's a lot of leggy stuff in here. I did notice that some stuff was actually like growing in the back. I'm gonna try and find a good example. Oh, like right here. So you can see some of the seeds that I planted ended up like way in the back there. They just got pushed back when I watered it. And I'm just gonna leave them. We're gonna see what they do, but it's pretty green. So now that you've seen the green stalks, let's move to the main part of the garden, and I want to show you where we are with our seedlings. So these are all of our seedlings except for the peppers. So everything it's looking okay. It's not great. I haven't been fertilizing a ton, and so I did actually fertilize all of these yesterday. I fertilized everything here and the peppers, and you can see, like, you know, overall I'm happy with it, the amount of plants we have, and I know that they'll kind of perk up once they go into the ground, so I'm not too worried about it. I do always wish that they had turned out, you know, looking better than they do, but a lot of this stuff, like these snapdragons here, this is the first time I've grown these, and this might actually be the wrong time for them, but I always kind of try stuff first when I get the seeds and see what happens. And so, like, you know, these zinnias right here don't look too hot, but they'll be fine once they go out. And you can tell right here, this is really funny. This chamomile is definitely done being in these little pots. And so, but it's gonna smell really great. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with it. It could be better, but I mean, it can always be better and it can always be worse. So yeah, here are all of our seedlings except for the peppers. So I mentioned this in previous videos too, but with my peppers, I put them out later in the day. So when it's around like 60 degrees is about as warm as we're getting right now. So I'll put them outside and start hardening them off when it gets to be about 60. Lately, that's been pretty late in the afternoon. Yesterday, I put them out around, I want to say 2 o'clock, and today I get to put them out around noon. So that's really exciting. And then in our 10-day forecast, we have 80-degree days at the end of like day 9 and 10. So that's coming up. It's going to get pretty warm here very quickly. But all of the seedlings I just showed you, they spent their first night outside last night. So they're completely hardened off at this point. They've spent all day and all night outside, and I'm just going to leave them out here unless it like rains or something like that. And they're just going to stay on this table until we get the garden in. Okay, on to the fruit trees. So this is our peach tree. We do have leaf curl on it, but we're not worried about it yet. We talked to a master gardener about it, and let me see if I can get this to focus more so you can see. So we talked to a master gardener about it, and they did tell us what we could do for next year or next season, but they said it shouldn't affect the fruit too much. And there's a ton of fruit on here. So this thing is, I don't know if you can see all of them, but it's just covered in fruits. We were told to wait until they were about the size of a nickel or a quarter, and then to thin some of them out. So we'll be taking some of these peaches off so that the tree can focus on making a few really good ones, and so it's not so overloaded, especially since right now it doesn't have as many leaves to photosynthesize as it normally would. The top does look much better. The leaf curl does go all the way to the top of the tree, but there's a lot more green leaves up there, so we're hopeful. We'll see what happens. And then this is our apricot tree, and it's doing really well. It's just, out here being pretty. Next to those two fruit trees, we have our grape arch that we built. And so these are doing really well too. These are the grapes that came with the house, and so they've been here. We got a ton of grapes off of them last year. And so I'm really excited for this trellis. And when it fills all out and there's shade underneath it and all that, I think it's just going to be really pretty. It's already, underneath here is already Remy's favorite, like, new nap spot. So I think it's going to be good. And then the little grape that we brought with us is doing really well too. And so it looks to be pretty much on the same schedule as the other two. So that gives me hope that it's going to pull through really well. And we've never gotten grapes on this one just because it's been in a pot and it's been sick. We didn't know how to take care of it, all sorts of things. But I'm really hopeful now. It looks exactly the same. The leaves look exactly the same as the other one. So I'm hoping that it's happy in this spot. So not much to report here on the citrus trees. We think this one's a navel orange. We're not sure, but it is, coming up with a lot of new leaves and a lot of new growth. So we're really hopeful about that. This is the one that was really sick when we moved here, and we've taken out some bad spots. We're working on fertilizing it and just bringing it back to health. It seems to be doing all right. And then right next to it, this one is a cutie tree. I always have to think about it. Clementine. It's a clementine, and it's doing really well too. So this one we got a lot of fruit off of, even though it was really, all of the fruit was small. I think it was the end of last weekend, we actually juiced all of the clementines that we got off of this, and they were pretty good. They were so small and they were hard to peel, and so instead of just like dealing with that, we just decided we wanted to like have some juice from it, and it was nice. So it was a good little treat for us. So I'm excited to see what this tree does, what both of these trees do this year when they're like regularly fertilized and all of that good stuff. As far as these three beds in the far side of the garden, not much has changed in the last week. On these, it's just, the garlic is growing bigger, and the peas are trying. The peas that we put on this trellis in fall, they got damaged because we got so much rain, and then the rabbits came in and mowed them. But they are really trying, and some of them are actually flowering and stuff. So like that guy there, there's a little flower in the middle of all of the destruction that the rabbits left. It's trying. The thing about these beds too is these probably won't get to go all the way up because we are refilling these beds. And so while we work on the other beds, we'll give them a chance to just kind of see what grows in it and all that kind of stuff. But we are going to be resetting these beds. I'm going to wait as long as I can because, like I said, we have this garlic here and there's onions along the other side. And then in this bed, there's actually a bunch of really small leeks in the middle. And I've never successfully grown leeks. Like they never do much of anything, but I've tried 2, maybe 3 years in a row now. And it gets a little bit better every single year, but I've never gotten anything that's even close to, worth eating. It just looks like little grass. But anyway, so at a certain point, we will have to make the decision on if we're going to just reset these beds and hope, whatever survives, because we'll want to be able to plant our summer garden in it, like all of those seedlings that I just showed you. But it's just kind of playing with the timing, and so they'll have a little bit of time, but not very much here. It'll probably be like a week or so max. One thing I realized after last week's garden tour is I talked about the blueberries. I mentioned them very briefly, but I didn't actually show them. And so they are starting to leaf out really nice. And here's one right here. So they all look pretty good, and I'm going to show you those really fast. Here's the blueberry plant that I was just pointing to. They're all starting to get their leaves. They're now on a fertilizer schedule for once a month. And yeah, they look pretty good. We were worried that we killed them all last year. We originally bought 8 plants, and in our move we got 7. And so we had bought them originally just like completely wrong time of year, all that kind of stuff. But they're doing pretty well. They're hanging in there. Don't know if we'll get blueberries off of them, but we'll see. And the other plants, there's a couple more. There's one right there, and one right there, and one right there. And then on the other side, we have one there, and then one on the other side of this bush over here. So one more thing that I want to show you, and this doesn't really have to do with the garden. It definitely has to do with our enjoyment of the garden. So I'm really, and just why we love this house. But we've been watching these big trees, this one, and we have one that's on the other side in front of me. We've been watching these big trees, and we've been just waiting and waiting and waiting for them to get their leaves back, and the leaves are starting to come in. And it's just so exciting because we love the canopy underneath these trees in the summertime. It's cooler, it's beautiful. It's just like, for us, it sold us on the whole backyard. We definitely wanted the space, but having these 2 big trees here is just amazing, especially since it gets really hot here. It's like most of the days in the summer are over 100, or at least at 100. And so we've just been excitedly looking and just way too juiced about the leaves coming in from these trees. Oh, nice. The sun is coming out. Awesome. I thought it was going to be foggy all day. So anyway, that's our week 2 of the spring garden tour. I hope you enjoy it. We have so many projects coming up in the next week, 2 weeks, that I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting for. I'm so excited to have this garden in and to be filling it out. I'm so excited for what it's going to look like in like May, June. I can't wait. I hope that there's something growing in your garden that you're excited about too, whether it's, a whole bunch of raised beds or a patio garden, or just growing like a flower in a pot, because that's where we started too. And you can just get so much joy out of that. So thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.